Growing Clawson, the debut.
This is Alex Spieshak coming to you live from the Clawson Chamber of Commerce headquarters in Clawson, Michigan. I am here today with Walter Hooper from Hooper Marketing, and this is our first iteration of Growing Clawson, a podcast brought to you for businesses, by businesses, and powered by the Clawson Chamber and Hooper Marketing.
What's up, Alec? How are you?
I am good. I am, we're 49 minutes later than we originally planned on this.
It's okay. It's fine.
So I am exhausted, but excited for the start of something fun. So I'll take a little, before we start diving into what Walter is as a human being, and what his business stands for, we are going to talk about what this is going to sort of look like. So Growing Clawson is going to be a podcast that talks to local businesses, chamber members, and interviews them, shows you a little bit behind the scenes of what they are, what they stand for, what their business is, and then we'll get some goofy questions in there. And just make it fun. And it sort of provides an opportunity for me as the chamber and the businesses to showcase what they do. So there will be something that will get out next week in a Sign Up Genius form. If you're interested in sitting down, we would love to have you on. And then it will provide future opportunities for maybe sponsorships, get you in front of new people that you might not normally get in front of. So it's a new experience, and we are really trying to work this out. So please bear with us for this first episode. And if you have any suggestions, please feel free to always reach out to me at alec@clawsonchamber.org. Or if you have any questions for the guests, I would love to have those in the future. And it could be a blanket question, or it could be for somebody specific, or if you have a suggestion for somebody you want to see. So this is our little iteration intro. Won't be normally like this, but I appreciate you listening to me, because that's always fun. So we're going to start here. I've got a couple of questions for our good friend Walter Hooper. So we're going to start off with your origin story. We're going to go down the superhero route, or villain, depending on where you're at.
I tend to land on the villain aspect.
That's what I was going to say. I've gotten to know you over the last year. And
I mean, I am wearing all black, so, you know.
And branded, too.
And branded, that's right.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. So take us back to the beginning. What sparked the idea for Hooper Marketing? And I know you had other iterations before, different names, so take us back to that very beginning. What sparked you to go on this journey?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Alec, for having me on the debut episode of Growing Clawson. And, I'm thrilled and honored to not only be the first guest, but also produce this show and evolve it, grow it, and get to interview and get to know many other chamber members and guests. So, again, it's thank you in all seriousness. But so my origin story, my superhero beginnings, my villain beginnings, maybe. So it all started back in, I would say it was 2015. I was working over at the Renaissance Center. And I was a contract worker for GM. And so I was working in their chat lab department. So basically what that meant was I answered questions that customers would inquire within any of the GM websites. And so if they clicked on the chat with an advisor icon, then they would speak with me or anyone on my team at the time. And it's a long story, but I'm going to keep it condensed for the sake of the show. And maybe we'll get a Patreon portion at some point so you can hear the real inside scoop.
Yeah, because people want to pay to listen to you talk. Oh, sorry. Walter and I have become good friends over the last year, so I feel as though if I can bully him just a little bit, it makes for
it's
more
okay.
fun
Yeah,
content.
it's all in good fun and good humor. It was one of those things where, doing the corporate thing, I worked afternoons, so my shift would usually start at 2 p.m. And then, sometimes it depends on if I was online with a customer. Sometimes I wouldn't leave until after midnight.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where it cut into a lot of my other passions in life. I really enjoy and love playing music, just hanging out in general with friends and what have you. And so, mind you, I was in my mid to late-ish 20s at that point. So that was important. And, not to really be able to do that really was kind of soul-sucking. And just the expectations that were, I guess, required or, wanted from the members or the team, really, we got mixed signals, so it was one of those things where, okay, it's all about the lead, or, get the lead, but we want you to have a good relationship with the customers. And so every week we would do what's called a chat review. So they would take our chat logs from previous conversations we had with customers, and then our team leads would highlight whatever we did right, what we needed to improve on. And it just got to a point where it was like, what are we doing? The big breaking point for me was, I remember sitting down with my team lead at the time, and they asked, what do you think is the most important part of when you're talking to a customer? And without hesitation, I said, well, to get the lead. And they looked at me and they went, I can't believe you just said that. In fact, that answer kind of really disturbs me. That's no joke. I said that. They said that answer really disturbs me because it should never be just about the lead. Now, I'd already been in this environment for a few months now at this point, and I was tired. I was not feeling good about myself, coming home stressed, or what did I do wrong? It's just a very toxic and defeating environment. So I just calmly yet firmly, I was like, well, if it's not about the lead, then what is it about? If it's not about the lead, then why do we even bother showing up to work? Why do your bosses bother even showing up? Why does the Renaissance Center even bother showing up? Why do the people at the car dealers bother showing up if it's not about the lead? If it's not about the lead, then they can't sell cars. Why are the people then at the workers at the plants, why do they even bother building the cars if it's not about the lead? Help me make it make sense, And they got flustered and tried to, blah blah blah, it's it's relations are really important, blah blah blah. Not even hearing. So that weekend, that I remember, it was a Sunday, I got a phone call from my contract worker, my contract manager, and they said that my contract was terminated. And so, getting let go from my first big boy job, right? It was tough. Devastating.
It's tough.
Yeah, it was devastating. Hard. Yeah, and so I kind of went into a bit of a funk, and the quarter life crisis is a real thing, and just wasn't making good choices, and
got your red scooter.
Yeah, got my red scooter. Yeah,
can't afford a red Ferrari, but you got a red scooter.
You got the red scooter. It's the next best thing. And one day, I remember it was 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was on the couch, still in my pajamas. I was watching TV, and then all of a sudden, something just clicked in my brain and was like, I can't do this anymore. If I keep going down this path, it's going to be very dark, it's going to be very bleak, and it's not going to end well. Yeah. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do. So I flipped the covers off, or the blanket off myself on the couch, and then I got my laptop and a notepad and a pen, and I was like, I need to figure out what can I do to make something of myself. And so to go back even a little bit further, my very first job right out of college was I worked for a magazine publication called Natural Awakenings of Detroit. And I did their social media postings. I just did Facebook posts. So I did statuses and maybe some photos here and there, stock photos. And I recalled that job, and I was like, I wonder if that's could be a thing, and so I searched online, social media manager careers or opportunities. Like, is this a field that could be lucrative? And, a lot of economic forecasts were saying that, yeah, it's on the rise, and there's going to be a need for it. And so I just said, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And so not long after that, I came up with the first iteration, W.A. Hooper Social Media Management. It's a mouthful. And then a year later, in 2016, is when I officially filed with the county as a sole prop. And I just hit the ground running. I was able to get some leads right out the gate, thanks to family and some friends, that knew that I was serious about this. And so I just built up a clientele, and then the years went on, and here we are in 2026. This July 6th actually will be my 10-year anniversary. Now I'm Hooper Marketing, and so now in present day, Hooper Marketing specializes, well, as you can see, video, audio, podcast production, search engine optimization, or SEO, and paid social media ad campaigns. So that's the short of it. Even though it wasn't really short, but
I appreciate it, and I think as a whole, that's a story that can really help somebody when they look at it, because there's a lot of people who look in different aspects of their lives, and they are at different points, or they're at maybe their lowest point. And to see somebody who can make it out on the other side successfully is, I think, a very positive thing. And I appreciate that, because it shows the full iteration of where you've been. You have cut through a couple of my questions already, so
okay, all right.
So we're gonna move on to the next session, because you basically cut through the 2-second questions in the origin story, and I did not provide these questions to him early.
No,
these are all off the cuff. This is not pre-recorded. Well, it is pre-recorded, but it is not a. It's not just like he has a script in front of him. So it's very impressive that you almost predicted questions that I had. So we're going to move on to this next section. It's a little breakdown of sort of what do you do, who do you serve. So for the listeners that may not know Hooper Marketing, how would you describe what you do? Now, I know you said your specifics focused, but as an overall, it's what do you do? What is Hooper Marketing in a nutshell?
Okay, so like what is kind of like the nuts and bolts of what I do?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna tie in the video and like even the podcasting, all that. So what I do is I help businesses, as I say in one of my slogans, is I help them up the ante with their digital marketing. So, if they're looking to add in that higher quality, that high end video production needs. So it can range from doing social media type video content. It could be doing things for their website, doing for their landing pages, helping them set up and manage YouTube channels. Just anything having where a video can be showcased. That's a big one, because there have studies have shown that you do manage to get higher engagement and higher turnover in closed business with video production, and especially if it's good quality video production. I'm just to showcase a little bit, like even like these microphones that we're using here for this show and moving forward is, these are Shure SM7B microphones. Like these are radio studio quality microphones, and majority of the well-known podcasts and shows use these mics. So this is the real deal. And also playing music and being in the audio, already tinkering with audio production, I don't play around with my.
It ties in very well, and it shows the level of elevation that you can have from an experience with Hooper marketing, because it's not just your standard nuts and bolts you're playing with the highest level of equipment. And that's one of the reasons why I talked to you and said, hey, I want to start a podcast, because who doesn't love to listen to Alex Spisak speak? More than Alex Spisak. And what I thought was, hey, I have a wonderful Clawson Chamber member who is here and who is willing to have these conversations with me. And going forward, you know, after this debut episode, you're going to see him as the producer. So he'll be the funny guy in the corner. But it was an honor to be able to sit down and you know, have these conversations. You know, obviously we still have more to go, but it means a lot. So I think that it's cool to sort of see what you do the best in physical form, in what we are recording and what we are putting out. So my next question for you is, who is your ideal client and why do you love working with them?
That's a great question. So it's going to sound a little cliche, like most any business can be my client, but you know, to answer the question of who's the ideal, I'm going to maybe spin it a little bit and kind of make it as who am I looking to work with for 2026 and moving forward? Like, who are some of my new ideal opportunity clients? I would love to be able to work within the manufacturing realm, you know, going to plants or factories and showcasing, okay, how do these things get produced? How do these products and goods, you know, how are they manufactured? So, you know, capturing maybe that process, you know, with the machinery, you know, showcasing, you know, if there's people that are working at these, you know, what they do, more kind of like a documentary behind the scenes kind of a thing. So that would be great. Another industry I would like to tap into, and you know, because it's legal now, is the cannabis and medical marijuana industry, because there is, you know, it's here, it's
growing industry,
literally growing.
You know, and I mean, if things hold true, it, you know, won't be a class. What is it, class 1 or whatever? Subject 1 drug or whatever. No. You know, I mean, that it most likely will be nationally legalized within the next year or two. You know, depending on if the current administration holds up to what they talk about.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You know, we see a lot on that. But the next question I have for you is, what is one misconception people have about marketing agencies, you know, your realm of work?
That we're shysters.
That you're shysters. Okay.
Yeah. Shysters, or I can do this myself. You know, I can, you know, why do I need to hire outside help when, you know, I have a smartphone and a ring light?
No.
Like,
do it yourself.
Do it, yeah. Yeah. And which, when you're starting out, and I found the pattern, and I'm sure some of my fellow marketing businesses and categories in the chamber can relate to this as well. When it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whenever you're starting out, usually the first year, I tend to find that I don't really get much, if any, closed business from first year. I'll even say first to 2-year business owners, because the first 2 years, really, you're just trying to just hustle, get as much business as you can, and then just trying to break even. Really, once you get into year 3, I find that, okay, that's when now they're ready to up the ante with their digital marketing, and then they realize that, okay, now I have more to tend to on my plate with responsibilities and tasks with their business. And so the biggest common dialogue I get from those business owners is, I just don't have time for this. I just don't have time to do it. But I know it's important, and you know, I've seen what is going on out there, so I definitely need to get on board with this. So then that's when we come in and say, okay, great. We're more than happy to help, and here's what we can offer you. So, like I said, through video production or search engine optimization, paid social media ad campaigns, and, going back to the origin story of starting out as social media, that was in 2016. Now the gamut has changed and is changing every second practically. And in 2016, you didn't have TikTok or Snapchat or anything like that. No Chat GPT. So now it's getting out of that. I'm glad I got out doing the daily postings and the daily social media work, because then that gave me more time to focus on, the video production, the podcast production, this type of work, so where I enjoy doing it. And it's, it's not like, time to go back to social media and get these posts ready. It's like, oh, good, I have a new project to edit. So
there you go. Okay. Can you share a quick success story that really captures the impact of your work?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say, okay, it was with a former client before they ended up retiring and selling the business. This was a popcorn company, and a boutique popcorn company, and I was helping them do all of their doing their social media and videos and photo, kind of like the jack of all trades with them. They were actually one of my first clients when I started. I think I signed on with them, and they signed on with me, however that goes, however you want to look at it. About a year after, maybe a year or two after I started my business. So they were with me for a while, and I believe they sold in 2021, 2022.
Okay.
But helping them with their campaign, I was providing higher quality photos, higher quality videos, and then even creating ad campaigns for them. Well, because of that and it being put out there into the social media realm, they were getting more views, and more specifically, they were getting more orders being put in and through them, with them. And they had said, like, yeah, it's working, because we're getting people inquiring about, okay, orders for bridal showers, baby showers, graduation parties, because those are the types of things that they were wanting to put out there, that they can provide their product, their popcorn, for these special events.
Yeah.
Or these milestone events. So to hear that and be like, oh, sweet, yeah, so like what I do actually matters.
there's value behind the sauce. I like it. I think that's an important way for people to get to know you and to understand what Walter does and what Huber Marketing is. So I thought that was a good question. Now, this section is what I like to call, let's toot my own horn.
Ooh.
And not yours. I'm literally talking about me. So what led you to get involved in the Clawson Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, I see what you're doing. What
sweet
self-glorification without actually
what
saying.
Sweet words did I whisper to you to get you to join the Clawson Chamber? That is what I am here for. It's self-glory. It's self-gratification. I am all about what Alec does when Alec does it. That's the politician in me. It makes me want to feel good. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I think that it's important when we have these conversations, and let me preface this. This is a new podcast. If you have never met me in person, I am very, very sarcastic, and I enjoy making people laugh. So if that's not for you, this might not be your podcast, but please listen to the important stuff and hear what these businesses have to say. And I will try to keep it humorous, but also reasonable. But I think that that's an important focus for businesses to see. What drew you to the Clawson Chamber? Why did you join the Clawson Chamber? And what has the Clawson Chamber done for you? Let's just throw them all out there.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I can multitask when it comes to this type of stuff. It's one of those things where, well, first and foremost, so it was actually, it was my mommy.
It was.
My mom,
wonderful woman.
Yeah, my mom works in the hospitality industry, and she is a sales manager at a hotel in Auburn Hills, and she had told me that you either stopped in and wanted to ask them about a membership or doing something there, something where like you interacted with her and you had a verbal face-to-face conversation, and it got brought up that you were part of the Clawson Chamber, and you were always looking for new members. And then my mom, being the wonderful support and advocate for me that she's been and continues to be, love you, Mom, she said, my son is in marketing, and he's always looking for opportunities to he's been in chambers before, and maybe this could be a good opportunity. So my mom introduced us via email, and so I said, yeah, let's meet up. And so we met up. We were gonna meet up for coffee, and the funny part was we were both at the coffee shop, and we had been sitting in the place for about 10 minutes. Didn't know that we were both there, but I was on my computer. I was just doing some work and what have you, and then I remember messaging you.
All right, I'm gonna
okay.
pause here.
Okay.
Because
hey, hang on, Taylor. I'm gonna let you finish, but
I'm gonna pull my Kanye moment on you. I love the way Walter tells this story, but he tells it in a sense that I'm the idiot in this situation, when in reality we definitely both were.
Yes.
But the way that I approached it is I walked in there. Mind you, I had never met Walter before.
And vice versa. In person.
Yeah, we just virtually met. I didn't go and type in, ooh, what does Walter look like? So I go into these meetings, and I'm expecting somebody sitting there sort of waiting for me. When I walk in, I see, people working in a coffee shop, people dialed in with their headphones, people typing away on their computers. And Walter was one of them, who was there as if he wasn't there for a meeting, but he was there as if he had been working for the last hour or two on some kind of project. Just vigorously typing away, maybe a couple of beads of sweat from the craziness of the typing. But he is sitting in there, and so I sit down and I go, okay, maybe he's running a little late. I'm not going to assume the person who's working is there for our meeting, but that just shows the diligence that Walter has for his clients. Is he is there grinding away in between meetings, waiting for this person, me, to show up, and he's just continually working. So it just shows his work ethic. But I like to interject in that because because the story is told great by Walter, but it is it makes me just look more like the mouth breather on the other end, because I'm literally sitting across from him, when in reality we both were,
Yes.
And he also waited 10 minutes. Granted, so did I. But he also waited 10 minutes to be like, "Hey, I'm here. Where are you?" And I guess maybe we are just both special human beings, but
yeah, we're very special.
It was how you always talk about your what do they say it in the romantic comedies? It's your meet cute for our relationship. That was our meet cute. It was a wonderful time. But I do sincerely appreciate the friendship that we've been able to grow over the little bit, and it's always fun when I sit down with you, because every time we talk we're just always laughing, and I think that's important, because we do live in such a crazy world that it's crazy. But I will let you continue from there. I just had to interject because I thought that was I didn't want to sound like the idiot, but I guess I am the idiot in this situation. So it's
no,
okay.
you said, we were both zoned in on our own stuff going on at that moment in time. So, but no, so then once we noticed each other, and got to shake hands and introduce ourselves, I just, I told you, I remember that, I had been in chambers before, and I was just looking for something a little different, and I'm from the east side, so I'm in the Grosse Pointe Harper Woods region, St. Clair Shores, like that side of town. So I was used to networking out there. I'd had some clients out on Oakland County side in years past, but I wanted to get back into that, just kind of spread my wings and see what other opportunities professionally I could pursue. And I thought, Clawson's a cool area. It's really kind of blossomed into this nice like little gem of an area where, I know that everybody, when they think Oakland County, they think Royal Oak, they think Ferndale, they think Birmingham, Bloomfield. But, I think with to toot Alex's horn here.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know, self-gratification.
I need it instantly, too. That's the double-edged sword.
Yeah, well, it's our millennial generation. We're just always looking for its approval.
Yeah, we're just damaged.
But for what you've done with the chamber and taking over as the head and embracing the ideas of adding new things, changing some things, but also keeping intact some of the core values and traditions and blueprints that made the chamber what it is. So, it's kind of it's a tough thing to do, and you've been doing it very gracefully. And I've joined the CLIP group, the Clawson Young Professionals group for the chamber, and I'm sure we're going to get to that too in this. But to interact with other young professionals, well, I'm getting to be a.
We're leaning towards the end of the young professionals.
We are.
It's still an opportunity to have those conversations, and I think the reason why I appreciate you participating is you have the experience. Like you said, you're coming up on 10 years, so you've been in your industry, you've been through your ups and downs, you've had those things that have made you who you are today, and that can be very valuable to somebody who is just jumping off the ledge of, this is entrepreneurship, this is my business, this is what I am going to do. And I definitely appreciate you for what you do with that.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, and so it's been a journey, and I'm excited to continue it and see how it grows and see how my company can help other members here in their digital marketing needs and just make new connections. Really.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And I think the chamber can do that. We ran into some areas, during the pandemic where we stepped away from our in-person conversations, and we stepped away from that in-person networking aspect. And, that takes away from an important part of business, and that's person to person. It's much easier to sit down and have those one-on-ones and then be able to build that business. I did that with getting you to join the chamber, and vice versa with you sitting down with me and saying, hey, let's start a podcast. Let's talk about the important things for businesses and people who might be interested in those businesses. And so I think that it's very important to really have that person-to-person connection, and it's led to a lot of good development for the chamber. Now, to continue on to that, I would one more question in the toot your horn category,
yep.
And then we'll move on. What is something that you would say to a business owner who is on the ledge about joining the Clawson Chamber of Commerce?
Don't think about it, just do it. I know I've spread the word to some of my colleagues who are also in the young professional realm. Some of them have had their businesses and companies for. One of them, she's had her business for 5 years. She actually just opened a venue out in Grosse Pointe Woods. Shout out to Sophia, what up? Part of your Road Princess company. So she opened a venue. She's coming up on 5 years this year. I told her about this. I've told others about in my circle, like I said, about it, that are looking to expand their network, and because they're also East Siders, so they're used to doing business a certain way out in that side of town. And I said, when you come out here, it's it's a little different, but I said it's good. It's a good different. And I think in order for you as a professional and a business owner wanting some more opportunity, I think this is a great avenue to look into and go down, because you're going to meet other professionals that would want your services.
And to add to that, I think the other benefit is, really cost-effective memberships, and opportunities to where you can come out and network, and you're not nickel and dimed, and you have those sponsorship opportunities where we work with partnerships. I mean, we are the Growing Clawson Podcast powered by Hooper Marketing, because that shows the way we're willing to work with people and to showcase those businesses. And I just figured I'd add that, as if I'm being interviewed and not the one in charge of this. All right. So this next section we're going to jump into is about your growth journey. What has been the toughest lesson you have learned as a business owner so far?
Ooh, I like that. Ooh.
I learned from the best from your question. So, I won't get to the curveballs until later, but yeah, what is the toughest lesson you have learned as a business owner so far?
Be careful who you do business with. Be careful who you align yourself professionally and even personally with. I had a situation arise back in 2021 where I was part of a side deal with someone that I considered a mentor at the time, and some things happened, some personal things got in the way of our professional relationship, and it led to me having to seek legal action, and that was a really hard thing for me to do. It was really it was humbling, and it was because this was someone that I thought that I wouldn't be in a situation like that with. I did end up prevailing, but it did come with a cost. Some relationships within our circle were severed, but the way I look at it is, things happen for a reason, and excuse me, it's whether it's something as extreme like that, or losing out on some business that you thought was guaranteed. It's just one of those things where I learned very quickly from that experience to just be careful. Just be careful, and no matter what, you gotta look out for number one, and that's you. You gotta keep your own self-interest, your professional worth and integrity intact. And sometimes by doing that, you sometimes have to just swallow the pill, the tough pill, and just stand your ground, and do what you feel is right for you. And sometimes sometimes it can get a little messy, but at the end of the day, I came out okay from it, and now I know, and that's something I think I've advocated to some of our clip members, is just be careful, because you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I think that's an important lesson, because as somebody who's coming up, especially when you're on the younger end and you're in that young professional and you're at that ledge where you're like, all right, am I going full time? This is what I'm going to do? Is this how I'm going to be? And I think that sometimes you can definitely have people who unfortunately take advantage of you and have those situations. So it's good insight to make sure that you do your due diligence before you just jump off the ledge, or you sign that document, or you do this, or you know, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that answer. Your next one tends to go on the side of the positive of growth. How do you decide when it's time to level up? That means whether you're hiring, expanding services, upgrading systems, focusing on what you can do to improve. When do you decide that?
Good question. I know for me, one of my rule of thumb, thumbs, I guess, is if I get asked about a service more than 3 times, and if it's not something that I Walter Hooper, can handle with my expertise and my knowledge, I am going to find someone that I can hire on or subcontract that does have that experience. And then you're still working with me, but you have someone that's an expert in that field. So, for example, web design. When I started my company, it wasn't just social media management. It was also, I thought I could do it all. I thought I could do web design, email campaigns, SEO, you name it. I thought I could do it.
Everything under that sun.
Right. Well, quickly learned and realized that that is not the case, and a lot of things fell through the cracks. So when it came to web design and web work, I called upon this wonderful, wonderful individual who I got to know over the years, because they were kind of doing the same thing I was when they started up, but then they ventured more into web design and web maintenance, and I liked what they did, and I knew them through a previous chamber. Shout out CP Crystal with Wild Indigo Media. And I said, I don't do this, but you do. So do you want to link up, and do you want to see if we can tag team some projects and work together? And she immediately said, absolutely. And I've worked on a couple projects with her, and it's been amazing. Knowing that I have someone that I can call on, and say, under the umbrella of Hooper Marketing, this is the web expert, the web designer that we call on, and that I work very closely with. You're in good hands with this person, and their knowledge and expertise will not steer you away, or steer you wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I can definitely see how that can help you, where you build those partnerships and you have those people who are in specialties that but you don't focus on. They're not in that realm. So I think that really helps when it comes to business. Now, my last question for this section is, what marketing trends are you most excited about right now?
I'm going to throw this big one out there. I don't know if exciting is the word. It's very aware of it, and also it ties into SEO, AI. You see it whenever. I mean, it's everywhere now. I know we had mentioned just briefly ChatGPT. I can't tell you how often I hear the words, well, I just went on ChatGPT and it did it for me, and it's like, okay. Let's, in a quick pinch, okay, but when it gets to a point where it's taking over the ability, or when the user allows it to take over their ability to think critically, to come up with their own creative schemes, their own logic, that's where it can become dangerous.
Yep.
But also, going to tie it in with SEO, whenever you go onto when you do a Google search, the first thing you see on the top is an AI Gemini search result.
Yep.
So now it's learning, okay, how to navigate that with SEO and the tools that are out there for SEO, but also relaying the importance of having a human being being able to guide the clients with that field is still very beneficial and will never be, it will overrule what a robot tells you. We could go down a whole rabbit hole with all of that, but that's just the surface. So I'm gonna say AI, but it's got a big asterisk next to it.
AI with an asterisk. We'll take that. So, obviously, as we get towards the end of this podcast, we've got some things that we want to focus on in your vision and end game. Your vision and end game for your world, your Hooper marketing. So when you look ahead, what are the next 3 to 5 years? What does Hooper marketing look like? What is the experience that we will have?
Again, great questions, man. Like,
I'm just the greatest. Just interviewed God over here, man. Just killing it. Killing the game.
Hashtag killing it.
Hashtag killing it. Give me my Spotify deal. It's my first episode, and I
send me free stuff.
I want it. I want all this. I want all the cool stuff.
Real side quick tangent. Did you ever watch the show Rick and Morty?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so you remember? I can't remember what episode it was, but it was like one of the cutaways, and Rick runs in and he's like trying to like advocate to get a sponsorship from Nintendo, and he's like, Morty, if you sign up right now, you get all these free Nintendos, and it's like it's just really easy. And he looks in the camera because they would break the fourth wall, and he goes, and then at the very he goes Nintendo, send me free stuff.
Sometimes that's what you need. If you don't ask, you will never receive. So anybody out there that wants to send us stuff, we'll be setting up a P.O. box. Maybe we unbox. Maybe we test. Who knows? Whiskey Taco Foxtrot down the street. Charlie, I'm looking at you. I'll take some tacos. We'll do whatever you want. No. So give me your breakdown as we wrap this up. What does Hooper marketing look like over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think it's going to look like where we're going to, and we already are starting to dabble into how to integrate, or more specifically navigate AI. Again, the algorithm and the Google spiders are going to have a field day with this one. Navigate the realm of AI and how that's going to, and how we can help clients, with their SEO, and how it can complement that and not necessarily have it take over completely, but just help them navigate it and make them pop up on search results. I would love to be able to have, and I'm going to expand it even further, like 3 to 5. I'm going to even say 5 to 10 year.
Yep.
I would love to be able to have like my own studio space, and because right now, because the nice thing is even though having a studio space is great, I still also want to be able to make it where I can travel and take the setups with me, and I think that's where a lot of other studios, they just don't offer that. It's okay, you come to us, and then they charge you a certain rate, whether it's a straight fee or it's a flat fee, or if it's an hourly. It'd be one of those things where, okay, you come to the Hooper Marketing Studios, we can film your content, or if you have, like here, like we're in the chamber office, the Clawson Chamber office, like we're able to take our setup and go to you if you have a brick and mortar that you want to showcase. I know, little teaser, one of the things that I know we're wanting to do with this show and this series is showcase some brick and mortar businesses here in Clawson. So, if they have a space that's really unique and cool, let's show it off. Let's go there because I can do that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that really drew me to, working with you, is finding out that, hey, we can do this on the go. We can showcase those places in Clawson and surrounding Clawson that are special. that have something to show a value and offer, obviously come to my office. It's a little cramped and messy, and I had Walter basically cleaning today, but it's an opportunity to where we can be on the move, and I think that that'll set us up for success. So I guess as we wrap it up here, because we're getting towards the time where I have to run to a networking event that we have tonight.
We have to run
to a networking event. Yes, I'm dragging Walter with me. I guess leave us with some advice, some wisdom from you to wrap up and show maybe somebody who's looking to go into your industry, or somebody who's interested in SEOs or podcasting or video production or any of those things. Leave us with a little bit of advice, and then tell us a offer that somebody in the Clawson Chamber might be able to reach out to you on.
Well, that's great. Always take cash. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Not arguing it. I'll accept cash.
Oh no, I kid. When it comes to the realm of marketing, and not even just marketing, but just whatever you go into. But since you asked about industry specific, we'll keep it to marketing. But it can translate to other
business.
Yeah. But with marketing, find out what you're really good at. Find out what your strengths are, and hone in on that. Just go all in with it, because you will find that when you do that, the projects aren't as tedious. Some might feel more tedious than others, but at the end of the day, when you're going to bed and you're just pondering about the day and the night, you can go, that was good. I like that.
No.
There was a period, like I said, where when I would try to do everything, it was like, oh man, like, gotta do that again tomorrow. Rather as opposed to, it was challenging, but we did it. We made it through, and you know what? I think the client's going to be very happy with what the end result is going to be, and I'm gonna quote another fellow chamber member, Sir Yarrow of Yarrow Tech. We've what up, Yarrow?
We love Yarrow.
We love Yarrow.
Love Yarrow.
I'm just doing some shout outs today, because we're gonna do that on this show too. We're gonna do some shout outs too, throughout.
Yes, we are.
But I remember Yarrow and I having a conversation, and I'm going to try and do my best Yarrow impersonation here. But I remember we were sitting in his domain, because he literally, it's amazing, his space that he has where he works out of. And I remember we were drinking some bourbon, and he's like, "If you do what you love, the money will follow." And I was like,
that's a good spot on Yarrow. It's true though. I mean, I've seen it firsthand with people who, find their passion, and they find their niche, and they find their opportunity, and the money will follow if you focus on something that you truly love. And it is definitely a Yarrowism of the way that he approaches his life.
yeah.
And yes, I can for sure tell you that his setup is basically like, I'm pretty sure NASA has less technology than that.
Oh yeah, it's
an insane setup.
All I'm saying is, Yarrow, because you're going to be on this show, like we are going to your office, your domain,
force an interview
your empire, and people are gonna see just where the magic where the genius comes from. But to tie it all together, and which is why it's why I stopped doing social media, for the daily social media, not the ad campaigns. It's different, because it just got so tedious, and it was draining. It was exhausting trying to see what the latest hashtags were, what the trends were going online. Okay, do we have to do this? Silly, dumb video. Whatever. Create some brain rot. It's
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So when I realized that wasn't what I was really into anymore, and it just wasn't making me happy, and it was just, well, and let's face it, the video production work paid more than the social media. Then I was like, I gotta focus on that. And once I dropped that and did this, it was a breath of fresh air. It was like I fell in love with the company all over again.
There you go. You reiterated it. All right. So that is going to wrap us up for this first debut episode of Growing Clawson. This is your Clawson Chamber of Commerce podcast powered by Hooper Marketing. We're going to see a lot more of us in the future. So please feel free to reach out. If you have any questions on the chamber, my name is Alex Spieshak. I'm the executive director of the Clawson Chamber of Commerce. My email is alec@clawsonchamber.org. Please feel free to reach out, and we'll be setting up where we have a sign-up genius in the near future to get some more people who are interested in sitting in on this podcast and just sort of understanding where we come from, our working world, our business world, and everything in between. So this is Alec and Walter signing off. You'll see a lot more of Walter. So if you ever have interest in his information, please feel free to reach out. Give your email or address or whatever you want to do.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Walter Hooper, Hooper Marketing. I have my email is walter@hoopermarketing.net. My work line is 586-307-4208, or you can find me on the interwebs at hoopermarketing.net. I am also on social media, Instagram at Hooper Marketing, Facebook I believe is at Hooper Marketing MI, because at Hooper Marketing was already taken, so it just makes me more distinguished as being Michigan.
You are in Michigan.
And YouTube, you can find us on YouTube at Hooper Marketing, where we also have our podcast, which Sir Alec here was a distinguished guest on there.
It was a fun time.
It's called the podcast is Marketing Minds Meet, and we showcase local business owners, kind of like what the Chamber's doing here. We also showcase business owners, community leaders, community figures, and find out their journey, but also the spin is what makes them their marketing. How do they market themselves? What makes them stand out? So I believe that covers all of my contact info and where you can find me. So
there we go. Well, thank you, Walter, for coming out. We really appreciate it, and the Clawson Chamber is very grateful to have you as a member, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and continuing to grow this podcast. Like I said, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or questions for future guests or guest recommendations. I would love to hear it. These we're going to try to do at least twice a month, so we're going to try to get this on a good schedule so we can get it out and have something fun for you guys to watch and listen to. So thank you again. This is Alex Spieshak signing out from Growing Clawson, our Clawson Chamber of Commerce podcast. Thank you. Have a good night.
Later, folks.